It is the middle of July, and the sun has been sitting on your roof since 9 o'clock this morning. You are standing in your kitchen right now, and the air conditioner has been running for 6 hours straight. You can hear it out there, groaning, working, throwing money into the yard, and still the upstairs is too warm to sleep in. Now I want you to do something for me. I want you to imagine climbing the little ladder into the crawl space above your ceiling and holding your hand up flat against the underside of the wood that holds your roof. Go on. In your mind, press your palm against that board. It would burn you. Right now, this very afternoon, the air trapped up in that space over your head is sitting at 142 degrees. 142. Hot enough to cook an egg on the plank. And that oven, that furnace you did not know you owned, is pressing its heat down through your ceiling and into every room where your family is trying to breathe. Now here is the part I want you to sit with, because it is going to bother you the way it bothered the man I will tell you about later. The thing that fixes this costs $4, not 4,000, 4 yards of plain cotton cloth at about $1 the yard, and 1 hour of your Saturday with a staple gun. That is the whole of it. And you have never heard of it, and there is a reason you have never heard of it, and we are going to get to that reason too. But first I want to break something for you, gently, the way you would break bread. You believe, because everyone believes it, that a cool house comes out of a machine. That coolness is a thing you buy, plugged into a wall, humming in a metal box beside your porch. I want you to know that this idea is the new thing. It is barely 100 years old. For all the long thousands of years that people have kept houses in hot country, they kept them cool with nothing but the shape of the building and the good sense of the person who built it. The machine is the newcomer. The machine is the strange idea. What I am going to teach you tonight is the old idea, the one that worked before there was a wire running to your house, and works still, and will work when the wire goes dead. My name is Amos. I am Amish, and I farm a small valley in the eastern part of Ohio, the kind of place where the mist sits low in the hollows of a morning and does not lift till the sun is high. I have never paid an electric bill in my life, not once. The house I sleep in was raised by hands that share my blood, and the beams over my kitchen were shaped with a draw knife by my great-grandfather in the year 1868. He came across the ocean in 1838 from the Palatinate, which they call the southwest of Germany now, and he carried a box of tools and very little else. What I am about to tell you I did not read in a book. My grandfather showed me the roof. My mother showed me the stove, out of her own kitchen, on her own hot evenings, and she learned it from her mother before her, who learned it from hers. This is not knowledge that was invented. It is knowledge that was handed down, warm, from one pair of hands to the next. So here is what I am going to give you tonight. There are 5 old ways to cool a house without a machine, and I am going to walk you through every one, in order, starting with the one that matters most. First, the roof box, the little wooden tower that makes the whole house breathe. Second, the $4 strip of cotton, the fix so simple you will laugh. Third, the 2 vents at the ends of your attic, the nostrils of your house, that someone very likely has plugged shut. Fourth, the night draft, the trick of pulling the cool dark air through the whole building while you sleep. And fifth, the stove, my mother's stove, used not to make heat, but to move air, the strangest one of all, and maybe my favorite. Come along with me now, and I will show you each in its turn. Let us begin with the roof box, because everything else leans upon it. Up on the ridge of many an old farmhouse, you will see a little wooden tower, a squat thing with slatted sides, and the modern man thinks it is a decoration, a bit of gingerbread the old builders put up for pretty. It is not for pretty. It is the throat of the house. Inside it there is a hollow shaft, open all the way down into the attic, and its 4 sides are cut with louvers, angled slats. And here is what it does. Hot air rises. It cannot help itself. Hot air is light, and light things float up. So the heat gathers under your roof and climbs that shaft and pours out the slats into the sky. And as that column of hot air leaves, it pulls. It tugs at the air below it, and cooler air comes rising up from the low windows and the cellar door to take its place. and the whole house begins to move, and to draw, and to breathe. Now you already know this in your own body. You do. Think of taking a deep breath. When you push the air up and out of your lungs, out through the top, you make an emptiness inside your chest, and that emptiness sucks the next breath in, all on its own, without you telling it to. Your diaphragm draws down, and the fresh air comes rushing. The roof box is the house exhaling, and a house with no roof box, no opening at the top, is a chest that cannot breathe out. The heat just presses up against the ceiling and stays there, held, like a breath you took and could not let go of. They have a long word for this in the engineering books. They call it the stack effect, buoyancy ventilation, but you do not need the word. You need only remember your own breathing, give the heat a door at the top, and the whole house will breathe for you, free, with no wire and no motor. That is the first thing, and it is the greatest thing. Now to the $4 fix, the one I promised you, and here is the marvel of it. You do not need to cover your whole roof. You need only break the heat at the one hottest point, and that point is the very top, the ridge, where the two slopes of the roof come together and the wood is angriest. What you do is this. You buy 4 yards of plain white cotton cloth, muslin, the cheapest, plainest, most untreated cloth they sell, the kind with nothing done to it. And you take your staple gun into the attic on a cool morning, and you fasten that cloth up under the peak, a strip about 2 feet wide running along the ridge, stapled to the underside of the roof boards. 1 hour, that is all. 1 hour, and you climb back down. And here is the part most folks do not know, the part that makes it work. The heat coming off that scorching roof wood is not the ordinary heat you feel from warm air. It is radiant heat, and radiant heat travels in a straight line, like light, like the warmth you feel on your face from a fire across the room, even though the air between is cool. That is why the insulation on your attic floor does not stop it. Insulation stops the slow heat that creeps through the air, but the radiant heat shoots straight down from the hot peak in a beeline, right past all of it. The cotton stands in the path of that line and catches it. And it does one thing more, one lovely thing. In the cool of the night, the cloth drinks a little moisture out of the air, and through the day it lets that moisture go, slowly, and when water turns to vapor, it carries heat away with it. You already know this in your own body too. It is sweat. It is exactly sweat. When you are haying in the July field and the sweat runs down and dries on your neck, that drying is what cools you. The cotton sweats for the house the way your skin sweats for you. $4, and you have given your house a wet cloth for its brow. Now, the third thing, the 2 vents at the ends of your attic. On the outside of most every house, up in the triangle of the gable at each end, there is a vent, a little louvered opening. And I want you to go up in your attic on a bright morning with a flashlight, though you will hardly need it, and look at those 2 openings from the inside. You should see daylight through them, plain daylight coming through, and I will tell you now what you will most likely find instead. You will find no light at all. You will find them choked. 30 years of dust and cobweb and old paint, wasp nests packed in solid, blown insulation drifted up against them. Or, and this is the one that will make you set your jaw, you will find them sealed shut on purpose, filled with spray foam, closed up tight in the name of saving energy. These vents are the nostrils of your house, and when they are plugged, the house cannot exchange its air, and the attic, which is meant to be a soft cushion between you and the sky, a buffer, a cool porch between your ceiling and the sun, turns instead into an oven with the door shut. You know this feeling. Try to breathe with your nose pinched closed. The air stops moving, and the heat and the closeness build, and you must open your mouth or suffer. A sealed attic is a house breathing through a pinched nose. So you clean them out, by hand or with a shop vacuum, and if the little screen behind them is rusted through, you staple up a new piece of aluminum screen, costs about $3, with a mesh about 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeters or so. Fine enough that the wasps and the bats and the squirrels cannot pass, but open enough that the air flows free, and I will tell you, the wasps will not even try, because wasps will not build where there is a draft. Moving air is not to their liking, and here is a thing worth knowing in case a worry rises in you about the building code. The code asks for a certain minimum of venting up there, and opening these vents does not break any rule, not one. Your attic is a floor with a roof over it, not a room, and there is no such thing as too much air in it. Now the fourth way, the night draft, and this one costs you nothing at all but the good sense to do it. When the sun has gone down and the outside air has fallen below 80 degrees, along about 10 or 11 at night, you go and you open just 2 or 3 low windows and open them only a hand's width, on the side of the house that has stood in shadow through the afternoon. Not the west side that baked all evening, the shady side. Then you make sure those gable nostrils are clear, and you crack open the hatch to the attic. And now watch what happens, though you will feel it more than see it. The hot air that piled up all day rises and streams out the vents, and that leaving air makes a low, hungry pressure inside, and that pressure reaches down through your open windows and pulls the cool night in, and draws it up through every room and out the top all night long while you sleep. And here is the deep thing, the thing that makes the morning good. The wood of your house, every beam and board and stud, is what we call thermal mass. All day it soaked up heat like a sponge, and all night, in that cool draft, it lets that heat go, board by board, breathing it out into the passing air, so that when you wake, the house is not starting the day already hot. It starts from far down low, from cool, and it takes till afternoon to climb back up. You know this in your own body once more. It is a fever breaking in the night. The body that ran hot all day, sweating and tossing, gives up its heat in the dark hours while it rests, and by the gray of morning the fever has passed and you wake cool and clear. The house sweats its fever out overnight, and wakes without it. And now the fifth, my mother's trick, the stove, and I have saved it for last because it is the one that seems like foolishness until you understand it. On a hot evening, after the worst of the sun had bent low, my mother would light a single burner of the cook stove, just one, and turn it down to the smallest flame. Then she would open the window right there over the stove about 3 inches, and go clear to the far end of the house and open another window 3 inches there, and that was all. That little flame, doing nothing you could see, would within the hour cool the whole house down. Now how, you will ask, can making heat make it cooler? Here is how. She was not using the stove to make heat, she was using it as a pump. That small warmth rises and rushes out the high window over the stove, and as it leaves it pulls, hard, and drags a great river of cool night air in through that far window and all the long way through the house to get to the stove. You give a very little to move a very great deal, and you already know this in your own body, better than you know anything, for it beats in your chest this moment. Your heart is a small muscle, a fist, no bigger, and that little fist, squeezing, moves every drop of blood through the whole length and breadth of you, out to your fingertips and back. The stove is the heart of the house. A little push at the center, and the whole body of the air begins to move. 5 cents of fuel for 40 minutes, and the house drinks the whole cool of the night. Now I need to stop and speak to you plainly for a moment, the way I would want a man to speak to me. I would rather you trusted me than were impressed by me. I am not selling you anything. There is no wonder gadget at the end of this. No cloth I want you to buy from me. No course. Nothing. And because I want your trust and not your money, I have to tell you the honest cautions too. When you open a house up to move air, you must begin small, and you must watch. If you live where the outside air is thick with damp, in the deep wet of the South, pulling in muggy night air is not always the friend it is to me here in Ohio. And you go slow, and you learn your own house before you throw everything open. If anyone in the home has trouble with the lungs, with pollen, or with mold, mind what you are drawing in, and start with a single window and see how it sits. And that little stove trick, the open flame, you use your good sense. You do not walk away and leave it. You do not do it in a house full of little ones running. Begin small. Watch what the house tells you. Done thoughtlessly, any of these can be done wrong. Done with care, the way it was handed to me, it is the safest cooling there is. because there is no machine in it to fail. Let me tell you now about the man I mentioned at the start. He was an English fellow, that is what we call folks who are not Amish, and he lived down the road, and he had spent thousands over the years fighting his hothouse, and one afternoon, doubting the whole time, he stapled up that strip of cotton under his ridge, $6 in cloth. That one night his bedroom fell 6 degrees, and his wife, for the first time in 20 years of Julys, pulled a blanket up over herself in the middle of summer. She had forgotten what it was to be cool enough to want a blanket. $6. And I will tell you what I told him, because it is the truth that ought to make you a little angry, the way it made him. You did not forget this knowledge. It was taken from you. Not in a meeting, not by a plot, but one sale at a time, one contractor at a time, one line of code at a time, until a house that was built to breathe was sealed up tight and sold a machine to do what its own bones once did for free. There is a whole world of money that lives only because houses are no longer allowed to breathe, and it would just as soon you never watch this to the end. So let me say it once more, plain and in order, the way you would tell it back to yourself climbing the ladder. Open the top of the house and let the heat out the roof so the whole thing can breathe. Staple the cotton along the ridge, $4, and break the radiant heat at its hottest point. Clear the gable vents, the 2 nostrils, and let the attic take a breath again. Throw the low windows on the shady side at night, and let the dark air pull the fever out of the wood while you sleep, and light the one small flame, the little heart, to pump the whole cool of the evening through your rooms. Roof, cloth, vents, night draft, stove. Say it going up the ladder, and you will not forget a one. Now I want to hear from you, and I mean this. Go up into your own attic this weekend, in the cool of the morning, and put your hand near the peak, and look toward the gable ends, and see whether you find daylight or find them choked shut. And then come down here below this video and tell me. Tell me where in the world you are sitting, what county, what corner of what country, and tell me what your own people did to keep cool before the machines came, because every place had its own way, and I want to know yours. Tell me what you found up in that attic. I read them. I read every single comment that is left for me, every one, and I read what your grandmothers knew, and it teaches me still. And before I let you go, come back and see me next time, because there is one more thing my grandfather left in the ground of this farm that I have not shown you yet. There is a room dug down under the slope of the hill behind the house, with nothing in its walls but clay and sand and the good cool earth, no wire, no machine, no modern stuff of any kind. And in the deep of January and the swelter of August alike, that room sits at 54 degrees. The same, always. 54, winter and summer, year upon year, kept cool and kept warm.